Ladies and gentlemen, the Mizuno Alpha 2, a much anticipated update to an incredible pair of football boots. Let's jump into the unboxing. Very, very traditional, made in Japan Mizuno box. You get the all black with the embossed gold here, with the made in Japan running bird, etc. I did go with my true to size, so you can see Mizuno Energy with the colorway here on the right hand side. This is a US 9, a UK 8, Euro 42, and a 27 centimeters for those who have seen both the blue Mizuno Alpha 1 and black Mizuno Alpha 1 reviews, and then of course the gold edition of the Mizuno Alpha Elite, which is the takedown model. I did go 9 US in the Elite, and then I've done a 9 US and an 8.5 US in the made in Japan models and have sort of fluctuated between the two. I will show you guys why I think these are going to be much better from a sizing perspective, because I think they did fix the sizing on these, and show you why this is an absolutely incredible pair of football boots. So let's get these unboxed straight away. Oh my days. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Look at those. Some people might find this boot to be a little obnoxious looking, but good for you and for anyone who doesn't like this rainbow colorway. There are 3 different colorways that just came out with the Mizuno Alpha 2. This happens to be sort of the flagship launch colorway, and then they've got the 2 other colorways that match the current green and white. I'm trying to remember what the name of that colorway pack that just came out, but it's an all white with like a electric green, almost like that colorway kind of from the 99 gram leather boots. You do get the typical made in Japan Mizuno bag. Very cool. I never use these and they go straight in the trash, unfortunately, because they're not very high quality. And here is the right shoe. Very, very nice. Okay, so this video, especially this particular portion of the video, might be a little bit longer just because there are some really interesting tech that I want to talk about in this video. So as you guys know, Mizuno Alpha came out almost 2 years ago, and in typical Mizuno fashion, this boot feels in hand almost identical to the previous generation. We see that in the Morelia series, the Morelia Neo series. It tends to be very, very small upgrades for boots in their lineup because they take the slow process of development, which I actually really appreciate and love about the brand. And that's why they've cemented themselves as the best quality boots on the market, because that is just what they do. It's slow process, and they really do a nice job of picking the things that actually matter and updating them slowly. So before we jump into tech specs really quick, I do want to make a shout out to WeFoot Grip Socks, who are the channel, one of the channel partners, and I have been wearing WeFoot Grip Socks for a really long time. You guys can find a link to a discount code, 20% off your order. I'm actually wearing my socks right now. WeFoot Grip Socks all the time. They're absolutely fantastic. So I wear them. You guys should as well. They are fantastic. Link down below. So let's go through tech on the Mizuno Alpha 2. So let's start with this upper. So there's one update that they've made to the upper and an update that they've made to the internals of the boot. And then there is pretty much not much else that they've done other than a few cosmetic things as well. As you can see, it's a much more kind of wild looking upper colorway, which is really nice. But let's go through the old upper. So the old upper, going from top, i.e. this material here, all the way down to the material closest to the foot, was a PU sheet, followed by an engineered fit woven piece, an engineered fit frame, the fit sponge, and then a suede material on the inside of the boot. Now, they have changed that to technically like 1.5 or 2 pieces. As you guys know, Zero Glide, which is all this sort of black material here, which is a grip mesh. And you can see as we pull out this material, you can see their new logoing there for the Zero Glide. It is a really nice and sticky material that grips the bottom of your sock, and it does such a nice job of keeping you in place. And the Mizuno Alpha made in Japan prior to that basically had Zero Glide from here all the way back. So that has not changed as well. But what I do want to talk about is some of the change that they've made to this upper material. So you still have a slightly updated PU sheet. It's going to be a little bit different as far as like what the boot actually feels like in hand. Not super sticky, as I would say, but it is sort of that material that's going to give you a little bit of extra grip in dry conditions, but then in wet conditions, it's just going to keep your feet dry and not affect the ball control at all, really. So a PU sheet, the engineered fit woven upper is still the second layer underneath that, which is slightly updated as well. And the engineered fit woven upper has actually stretch and non-stretch yarns in it to help with stability, because the third layer underneath that, which was the engineered fit frame, which you guys will remember from the previous generation Alpha, you could see it kind of stick out almost like these little lines that are on here, and it was essentially in the Alpha's internal cage. So it was a very, very structured material. So instead of having that, now we have another layer of PU material. So it's another sort of synthetic-y material that's in between the top PU sheet and then what used to be the engineer fit frame is now the PU sheet. And that's why that fit woven, the change to the fit woven upper as well, being the non-stretch yarns as well as stretch yarns, help with the structure. So on feet, it's going to feel slightly softer, but still maintain that really nice locked-in Alpha feel that we all love. Then underneath that, you get a slightly updated engineered fit sponge, which is pretty much the same, which gives you that really nice kind of almost gentle pingy sensation. It's still very barefoot feeling, but does have that kind of nice sponginess to it. And then instead of the suede material, basically from here forward, you now have the Zero Glide all the way throughout the entirety of the upper. So once you put the internal sock liner in there, it becomes incredibly, incredibly grippy. So basically you slip your foot in, as soon as you can get your socks and feet into the boots, your foot is not going anywhere. That Zero Glide is literally on all aspects of the underside of the upper, closest to your foot. You'll see that footage with the probe lens I'll show you guys, and that'll give you a really good look at all of this Zero Glide material. So the combination of all those makes for an upper that in hand, if you were to close your eyes, a person who, let's say, isn't a boot nerd or somebody who has their hands on different football boots all the time, if you were to put both in hand, you might be able to feel a little bit of softness difference between the two uppers and kind of texture and pattern difference between the two uppers, but genuinely, in hand, they don't feel all that different, but then on feet and the way that this boot now wraps your foot even just that 5-10% better makes for an incredible, incredible upper change. And that's where the Mizuno-fication or whatever, they've taken 2 years to figure out, okay, what are the things that actually matter? Well, one of them was those weird ankle gaps that a lot of people got because the Alpha was such a structured upper. You change that to the new PU material on the inside, kind of in the middle of those 5 layers, and all of a sudden, this upper wraps and hugs the ankle area really, really well. The reason I'm saying that is because I've already filmed the Ultra video, so I've actually already had these on feet, so that's why I'm speaking as if I know what they feel like, because I do. But we'll get into that later in the video as well. So they've changed that. And those are those small details, which is why Mizuno is the best of the best. They are, from a quality perspective and just a thought perspective, they don't think about, okay, what's going to be the next hype train? What's going to be the next thing? No. What's going to be the aspects of a boot we've already spent an amazing amount of R&D cash on, and also is an incredible pair of football boots, and how can we tweak it slightly to make it just that much better? And that's what they've done with this upper. Now, from the tongue perspective, which hasn't been updated at all, it's still the same really paper thin material. It actually, believe it or not, has 4 layers to it. So you have the PU sheet, exactly the same as this upper material. Then you have the engineered fit frame still, like we have deleted on the holistic upper, basically. So you do still have that fit frame on there just to create a little bit of structure. And then you have the Zero Glide mesh, which you can see there. And then if you see this little material kind of on the outside, that's actually the PU sheet. So the PU sheet is literally just a synthetic coating that goes over the top. And then they've just essentially folded that PU over to laminate essentially the edges of that double layer or triple layer upper. So very, very nice there. It's going to feel the exact same as the previous generation as well. So the Alpha 2 is overall the same lightweight and locked-in speed boot that you loved from the first generation, with better sizing as well. We'll talk about that in just a sec at the on-feet portion of the video, and similar and even better overall fit and performance. The other thing that they've also continued with the Made in Japan models, which you can maybe see here, is that Carvo insert. So you can see it kind of in there. Let me actually take the light and I'll shine it. There you go. You can kind of see that Carvo insert in there. And I will do my best to show you that with the probe lens as well. So you'll see Kelvin will put some probe lens footage in there as well. And so you can see that Carvo insert. The Carvo insert essentially acts as like a carbon plate, and it's a carbon-based material that goes from about there to there and really adds to the snappiness of playing in the Alpha 2. So, and then of course we have the same sole plate with that Mizuno Energy rear foot cushioning, which is also a material that you get from their running shoes. So you've got the cushioning in the heel area, you've got zero glide throughout the entirety of the kind of textured material that sits right next to your feet. You got an updated upper material that's going to be slightly softer with the same excellent responsiveness properties that we loved from the previous generation. And overall, this Alpha 2 is looking to be the dominant speed boot of the year. I would guess that this is going to be at least in the top 3, whether it's football boots of the year or top speed boots of the year, because these are absolutely unbelievably beautiful and amazing. So without further ado, guys, let's hop into the on-feet portion of the video, and I'll talk about sizing. I'll talk a little bit about the experiences that I've had already filming and playing in these boots. And of course, we'll do a playtest and 1 month review and stuff, but I wanted to give you guys an idea in my own content of what I think of these. And we'll talk sizing, we'll talk about updates from the previous generation, kind of sensation-wise on feet, and then we'll go from there. Let's hop into it. All right, fam, out here in the backyard with the Mizuno Alpha 2. I am super excited to get these on feet for you guys. As I said before, I have already reviewed these, so I've actually had these on feet, but I want to explain in my own words in my own video what they are like to actually wear. These are a really cool kind of rainbow colorway. I actually think they look kind of dope. They're very Mizuno in my opinion, especially the Alpha, which has had some really interesting new upgrades. One of those obviously is the tech on the inside. So now you get all of this material, this zero glide material on the inside of the boot. So sliding your foot in is a lot more difficult than the previous generation. You kind of have to like wiggle your toes forward. But once you get them in, oh my days, guys. Honestly, such a big improvement. Look at that sizing too. The sizing feels different than the previous gen. That could be just the way that this upper is constructed with the new mid layer. So having that, having the more flexible upper, but then reinforcing the yarns in the second layer. I'm not going to remember all the crazy different layers of them, but you get the idea. And as I pull the laces tight, you notice that this little hole goes away. And that's one of the things in their marketing, not even marketing pack, but like some of the internal information was really like, hey, how can we improve the general fit so that the gaps that were happening here, which happen on most synthetic boots, actually go away. So as a wide-footed player, as you guys know, the Alpha was a boot that I never quite fit in perfectly, but this Alpha 2 feels very good straight out of the box. Yes, it's a little bit tight around the midfoot, but that is to be expected for a boot of this quality and caliber and general shape, I would say, as well. So let's get on the right foot as well, and we'll get straight into talking about what these are like to wear. Now, I would expect most people who loved, well, everyone who loved Alpha 1, I'm sure will love Alpha 2, because the differences really aren't that crazy. It's just going to be more impressive straight out of the box to players who maybe were slightly on the wider side of feet and they didn't get an opportunity to wear the original Alpha 1. These are going to be a little bit more comfortable straight out of the box for everybody, as well as a little bit more performance oriented because of having the Zero Glide on the inside of the entirety of the upper. That's one thing that I think they did a great job of, is sort of realizing how much of a beneficial technology that was, and then moving that into all parts of the inside of the football boot. Meaning that as I pivot and turn, my feet are stuck perfectly on the inside of these boots. And as you can see, the sizing is absolutely perfect in a 9US. So I strongly recommend going true to size. This is what they look like on feet. They are definitely a bit loud. I think if I were to pick one of the launch colorways, I'd pick the white with the electric green. I think those look absolutely amazing, and that would just be my preference, even though I actually really like the way these look. These will just clash with more kits, obviously, than the white with the green ones will. But overall, the Alpha 2 feels so responsive. It feels everything that we loved about the Alpha 1, just more comfortable and better for wider foot shapes like myself. So I'm pretty certain that the Alpha 2 is actually going to be a boot that I can wear full time, which I'm so excited for, because in many videos, like you guys have seen, it's actually a boot that I have basically said, if there was one pair of football boots on the market that I wish I could wear, the Alpha would be the boot. And now, with this updated upper and slightly softer and a little bit more pliable upper while maintaining some of that beautiful structure that we love from Alpha 1, you can really, yeah, I can fit in them, which is so exciting. It's so, so exciting. The heel area is incredible, as most Mizuno boots are. It is really thin and low profile, but that Zero Glide does such a fabulous job at making sure that your ankle and Achilles tendon just feels really locked in as well. Touch on the ball for the Alpha 2 is basically identical as Alpha 1, very kind of barefoot, but with that little bit of pingy sensation to it, where you get the benefits of kind of a speed boot feel with the elements of maybe an upper that feels a little bit more padded than just like a straight single layer of synthetic material like the Ghosted series from Adidas several years back, right? So this is a synthetic that kind of feels somewhat similar in certain aspects, but because it's a 5-layer upper and it's got these beautifully constructed areas to where the boot just feels like, as you kick the ball, as you pass, as you manipulate the ball, the boots feel barefoot while also still having that robustness and that sort of build quality feel to them. So I am absolutely obsessed with how the new Alpha 2 fits and feels. It's a tweak that I think everyone will appreciate. They do have a runner's knot as well, so you can get even more grip, which I will do after breaking in the boots a little bit. You guys will definitely be seeing a play test and a 1-month review of these, and I will be definitely enjoying these out on both AG and FG surfaces, because they feel pretty freaking fantastic. The Alpha is a really interesting, the majority of speed boots nowadays are softer, so brands are often going for a little bit of a softer material, a material that might stretch or mold a little bit better. The Alpha is close to the F50 in that way, in the sense that this upper won't really stretch all that much. In fact, it won't really stretch at all, but it will mold to your foot. And I think compared to the F50, this is not even close. This is way above the F50 in terms of quality, build quality, upper, and just the feel of the boot in general and the general shape. But oh my days, this pair of football boots is incredible. First impressions are bang on. Mizuno absolutely nailed it with this update, even though a lot of people might be like, oh, it's not the update that I wanted, it's not like anything exciting. No, that's the whole point of Mizuno. The whole point of Mizuno is that you make incremental upgrades to a pair of football boots over the course of a decade, so that at the end of the decade, that boot is so much better than everything else on the market that, well, I mean, you see it nowadays. Everyone is playing catch up to the Mizuno boots, and the Mizuno boots have been out for years and years and years and years, and you wonder why. Small incremental over time upgrades. So yeah, I am super excited about these. I'm gonna love playing on FG surfaces, I reckon. I'll take these out for my play test, probably on a natural grass surface, just because I want to experience them on something other than turf, even though I do think that AG/turf is one of those things that these will be totally fine on. And I would imagine as well, eventually, whether it's these first couple colorways or later on in the life cycle of the Alpha 2, you will get AG models of the Alpha 2 as well. So that's going to wrap up today's review of the Alpha 2. I am so excited with how this new Alpha is fitting. It fits my foot really well. Yes, I'm going to have some break-in time, especially on the outside of my foot, but overall, this is a pair of football boots that I would highly recommend you check out, just given how incredible the fit is, and the performance is going to be pretty much second to none with these as well because of how locked in and secure you feel on feet. As always, be awesome. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.